Coming up on today's Wild West, the White Stallion Ranch. 50 years of fast rides.
Come on.
Team penning. And magnificent scenery in the beautiful Arizona desert. Plus, we'll visit the Montana studio of award-winning Western painter Loren Entz. So saddle up. Today's Wild West is just ahead. The Wild West. It's still out there. And we'll show you how to find it. This is today's Wild West. Sundown at the White Stallion Ranch, and the horses are still raring to go. Who else has this much energy at the end of their working day? Kicking up their hooves and charging out of the gate, the 150 or so horses that call this Dude Ranch home head out to their overnight corral to enjoy their evening meal and a bit of R&R. When you spend the day making dreams come true for people from all over the world, it apparently leaves you feeling pretty good. And that's exactly what these guys do.
We've never been exposed to this Western style riding.
Jiang Lin, his wife Ching, and daughters Amy and Jessica have been on a pony ride a time or two, but here at the White Stallion, they're learning to ride a horse for the very first time. White Stallion Wrangler Carol Bachman is the expert instructor introducing this family into the wonderful world of horseback riding.
You gotta pick up your energy, ask for that forward motion, and name that forward motion.
Horses are at the heart of a visit to the White Stallion, 3,000 acres of pristine Old West Arizona desert, just outside Tucson, in a protected bowl bordered by mountains and Saguaro National Park.
Good. All right, we're gonna turn him around and try it again.
Jiang and his family are taking advantage of daily afternoon lessons offered in the big riding arena. The goal? Pass the fast ride test.
All right, guys, we are on our last lope. Horses are going home, so they will speed up, all right? Everybody ready?
While the White Stallion offers rides for virtually every age and ability level, fast rides, the chance to take the brake off and lope through the desert, is a favorite attraction. And 4 days after arriving, the entire family had qualified.
Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
Did you go on a fast ride today?
Yeah, today was our first time
How was
on the
that?
fast ride, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah? Cool.
They were very happy that they got the pass before parents did. So.
Our philosophy is a little different than some. We want experienced riders who know how to handle and can appreciate a well-trained, finely tuned horse. We want them to have that opportunity to do that.
And so they do. It's great fun to gallop in the desert on a great horse, and that's why the ranch guests include horse owners and equine competitors who may be better riders than some of the White Stallion Wranglers.
Really good, really good.
Sarah's here for the first time from London. Are you a rider at home?
Yes, yeah, but it's quite different in London.
Yeah, I bet.
You're dodging runners and cyclists.
None of that here. These desert trails look much the same as they did when the Apaches rode here 150 years ago. And if it all looks like a Western movie, that's because it has been. Jimmy Stewart and Gene Autry made Westerns here, and the White Stallion was a favorite location for the High Chaparral TV show.
I think this is incredible. I've never ridden in the desert. I've always been on the East Coast. Oh, see you later.
Brenda's a lifelong rider here from the Cleveland area, loving her horse, Tally.
I love my horse. Tally and I have a real good relationship.
Tally?
Tally man, Tally. Yeah,
cool.
He's very responsive.
Here on our first visit, Brenda's equally impressed with a riding program tailored to match virtually anyone.
I've seen these 6-year-olds riding, you know, who obviously this is their first time, and then 65-year-olds riding. So there's something for everybody. I just think it's delightful.
Keeping 150 or so horses that are a good fit for that range of age, size, and ability is perhaps the White Stallion's biggest challenge. Consistency is the key.
They can't be moody horses, they can't be inconsistent. That won't work because we can't manage that. So yeah, they are hard to find. We feel like less than 1 out of 2 end up making it in our string.
White Stallion owner Russell True says finding good horses is a little bit like drafting NFL football players.
You draft the best horse, but then sometimes you have to draft the position. You know, if you need a tall horse that's good for beginners, then that's what you're looking for. If you need a horse for kids, then that's what you're looking for.
Most horses the ranch acquires that make the cut are already broke, trained, and ready to ride. But like a quarterback learning a new playbook, horses need to learn the White Stallion system before they're ready for trail rides.
They're just not necessarily, and most of the time, not ready to do what we do. So they've got to learn our system, learn our trails, kind of get comfortable with all the stuff that goes on around here so that there are fewer surprises for them. And then we send them out with the guests.
What you end up with are horses that fit everyone from experts to those stepping into the saddle for the very first time.
Some of these beginner horses are saints. I mean, they literally and absolutely keep people safe and give them an opportunity to grow and learn and have an opportunity to make horseback riding part of their lives where they wouldn't have otherwise. And we only have these people for typically a week, so we've got to get stuff going. We've got to make progress fast. So we have this broad range of people. We have people who've learned to ride here and they've gotten pretty good, and we've got people who think they're better than they are, and the whole story. And so we've got to find the way that, beside the obvious things, which is putting a 6'5" guy on a 16-hand horse and the 5'1" woman on a 14-hand horse, and you know, size and things like that, the obvious things, but we also have to make sure, if you're trying to give experienced riders horses appropriate to experienced riders, you really have to work hard to match those horses. You've got to know your horses, you've got to know their strengths and weaknesses, who they like, who they don't like, and it's a bit of a puzzle.
It takes an expert staff of wranglers to do that job, especially when you're saddling 115 horses a day. There's never a shortage of applicants, but finding qualified people is not easy.
You are looking at a shrinking pool of wranglers. I mean, it just is. And there's a lot of people still riding horses, but it's a hard job, and there are easier ways to make a living.
Russell, of course, prefers experience with horses with equally good people skills, but he will train the right person.
We don't take the whole crew this way, but if we have somebody who really has a passion and an interest, we'll take them from pretty low experience and train them how to ride and train them how to do it. And we also find that sometimes creates a little more empathy with the guests, and we've been surprised. We've had some really good success with that.
It does tend to be a young person's game. Throwing around 50-pound saddles and 100-pound bales of hay is no easy job.
Most wranglers, it's really just a college thing, you know? They spend their college summers out on dude ranches. And
our wrangler Joe has worked dude ranches off and on for 6 years, and at age 29, he's getting ready to hang up his spurs and use his college degree. But he'll retire from riding the range with no regrets.
No, I don't think I'd do it different. No, I think it worked out pretty well. I got to see all the states I wanted to see, so I'm happy.
You know, all of these folks, every one of these wranglers could do something probably easier, certainly, and maybe make more money doing it. But this is what they want to do, at least for this part of their life, and they get excited about it, and they get a lot of positive feedback. The guests love what they're doing for them, and I think that's the interaction and the experience that, for the few who can do it, makes it all worthwhile.
Hanging out with all the different people you meet and the horses, and you know, I get to ride horses for a living and wear a cowboy hat and be normal. It's cool.
Some of us can only dream.
Gonna sign on to be a wrangler, Barbara?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign on to be a wrangler. Do they take people over 20?
It is quite the office. Guys ready for some galloping?
Yeah, definitely.
I love those fast rides, but it's also a pleasure to slow down, savor the scenery, or even stop and smell the roses. And during the springtime bloom, the desert can look much like my mother's beloved rose bushes. Cactus flowers are really incredible. Ocotillo blooms with amazing red flowers, other cactus decorated in brilliant purple. Back at the ranch, cactus gardens in springtime light up with all kinds of wonderful color, white, pink, orange. It can actually be quite educational just to stroll around the immaculately manicured ranch property and read the signs that tell you what you're looking at. This saguaro cactus is now more than 150 years old. It takes a saguaro 75 years to sprout a single arm. The Apaches believed the saguaros were reincarnated warriors. Those with arms pointed skyward had faithful wives. Those with arms pointed down did not. You can still see the signs left behind by the ancient peoples who once lived in this desert. The White Stallion's day-long ride in the neighboring Saguaro National Park goes by some fascinating petroglyphs, those mysterious rock drawings that may be thousands of years old. The 8-hour ride into the desert park is a great adventure.
We survived.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
good.
it was fabulous.
Yeah.
It was like more than I thought it was going to be. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
beautiful.
Yeah, and
Exhilarating, beautiful.
yeah, and a lot of long lopes, which was fabulous. You know.
If you're lucky, you can also see some of the current residents of the Sonoran Desert, like this colorful Gila monster we spotted along the trail. The famous orange and brown lizard was a rare treat to not only see, but capture on camera. How cool is that? Back on the patio, another lizard came by to pay a visit, however brief. He was just a bit shy. What lasted longer was the magnificent desert sunset we savored, while enjoying a cold beverage at the end of a grand day, sharing our adventures of the trail. Later, we'd enjoy a fine outdoor dinner on the patio, in a beautiful setting that's like a grand hacienda. Russell would come by during dinner to tell us our riding options for the following day, which would include team penning. The White Stallion has a very fun version of that sport. We'll take you for that ride when today's Wild West continues. But first,
it actually happened to me one time.
A conversation with award-winning Western artist Loren Entz. A stormy afternoon in the Old West. A pioneer ranch wife gathers up laundry with her son before the rainstorm hits, when suddenly her husband's horse comes galloping into the yard, its beloved rider missing.
Can you only imagine what her feelings would be? And that happened a lot in the West.
The dramatic story is the creation of Loren Entz, an award-winning painter, sculptor, and member of the prestigious Cowboy Artists of America.
I had it at a CA show and it did not sell, and I can understand why it didn't sell because it's a traumatic story.
As Loren shows me this painting at his studio in Billings, Montana, he shares the thoughtful and time-consuming process that goes into a work of art before he ever puts paint on canvas.
It actually happened to me one time. I got bucked off in the Gumbo Hills west of Miles City, and the boss's wife, she's seen the horse come running in, and of course they were concerned.
Ideas for a painting are like seeds planted in the ground that can sometimes take years to bear fruit.
And during that gestation period, paintings will oftentimes develop, and new things will come into it and add to it, just like the overalls there.
There's all kinds of rich detail that tells the story in this work. The broken rein, the pain in the young woman's expression, the pair of overalls held close to her heart.
I did that on purpose because that's somebody so close to her heart, her husband. And so that kind of tells a story too, emotionally and symbolically.
A closer look reveals even more detail. The glow of the home fire inside the cabin, her flowers below the window, his hunting trophy hanging above it.
I enjoy finding little things that just are symbolic and emotional to add to the painting.
This cowboy artist really is a cowboy. He grew up with cattle and horses on a Kansas farm, attended a one-room schoolhouse, and has been drawing and painting as long as he can remember.
That's how I entertained myself, was drawing pictures. And what would I draw? I drew the things that I saw around me. I drew the livestock. We had a shelter belt of trees. I drew a lot of birds, you know. I still am fascinated with birds.
Loren came west of Montana in the late 1970s, where he spent the better part of 2 years cowboying on ranches near Miles City.
You know, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. If I had it to do over again, I'd do it again, so.
All that time spent around horses is a great asset when creating Western art with paint or clay.
Actually, all you're doing is drawing in 3D.
Like this sculpture of a young horse he calls Sleepyhead.
I can draw a horse in any position, pretty much. I've seen him from any position. I've seen him from laying on the ground, looking straight up at him.
Sleepyhead is a more typical example of the subject matter portrayed in Loren's art, which usually focuses on the quieter side of life in the West and relationships between its people.
Growing up on a rural setting, and family life was really important to me. Like my painting called The Gift of Love. It shows a mother who's just given birth to her son, and the young cowboy sitting on the floor next to the bed holding his brand new baby boy. At the time when I was working in eastern Montana on some ranches, and that's when my oldest daughter was born. And so I remember how emotional it was for me when, you know, I held my baby for the first time.
It's the kind of work that's long been making an emotional connection with those lucky enough to see it.
The greatest satisfaction I get out of my painting is to see the response, how it touches other people. And that to me is a real reward.
Loren's won some of the top awards in the world of Western art and exhibited at the most prestigious Western art shows in the country. But perhaps his most exclusive honor is his longtime membership in the acclaimed Cowboy Artists of America.
I'm very fortunate to be a part of it. It's been a really great thing.
The group's story is told in a new book by Byron Price, The Sons of Charlie Russell.
It's a real challenge. And you want to be as good an artist as you can, so when you come to the show, you don't want to fall flat on your face, and so it really challenges you to really reach higher for another level. And that's the way it's been for me all along, is just trying to reach higher to another level.
Much of Loren's work takes place outside. He never travels without his paint and easel, and the cowboys, Indians, and landscapes of Montana provide plenty of inspiration.
I love to paint outdoors, and everything is so fresh. This is a quick thing, but it was up in the Bull Mountains there. The artist goes out, finds a spot that he's inspired with, sets up his paint equipment and goes to work, and in just a short amount of time, you come up with something that's a real accurate representation of what's out there.
In recent years, Entz has been spending more of his time painting outside with his talented granddaughter, a budding artist at the tender age of 7.
She told her mommy, "I don't know if I want to be a mommy like you or an artist like Grandpa." Anyway, that about tore my heart out. We went out painting on location together. She's got her own little French easel, and what I immediately started noticing that she really started opening up to me, and that really was a reward. So. And that's really important. You know, I think we, as people, we can tend to get so involved in, you know, our focus and what we're trying to accomplish that we begin, not that we mean to, but we begin to maybe not include somebody as much as we could or should. But that was just a real lesson for me that, wow, just sharing time and spending time with her, that she just started blossoming and opening. I mean, the relationship just really grew between grandfather, granddaughter. And, you know, I feel it's really important.
Now Loren's added gallery owner to his resume. It's housed in Billings' historic Snook Art Company building, where owner Earl Snook once welcomed such friends as Ernest Hemingway, Will Rogers, Will James, and famed frontier photographer Ellie Huffman. Loren's gallery represents the work of talented Montana artists like Bruce Pierce and Jim Polson. Meantime, Loren continues producing paintings and now sculptures that often highlight the tender side of the West, works that capture the essence and heart of relationships, which after all is what life anywhere is all about.
We're all human beings, and basically we experience the same joys and
trials and tribulations as anybody else.
Morning in the Arizona desert, and the clear blue sky contains a wonderful surprise as a hot air balloon passes overhead. That looked like fun, but I was quite content with the view from the saddle as I joined my new friends for the breakfast ride. Beautiful morning.
Sensational. What a backdrop. That's really gorgeous.
When I was a guest, I think this was my favorite ride.
The breakfast ride?
Good
More pancakes?
We rode out to a picnic area out in the desert to enjoy hot pancakes and other morning treats.
Go on vacations to a lot of different places, but this is the one place where we come and it's like, I'm relaxed. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to be.
In fact, most guests here are repeat customers. Newcomer Connie Rossi can see why. She was instantly smitten on her first visit.
After the first day we were here, we booked our week trip next year, same time. We met some people here that come here year after year, and it felt like home after the first day, so we had to do it right away.
A trip to the White Stallion can be life-changing. A break from the pressure for stressed-out adults, a place where parents can let their kids be kids and run free, worry-free.
To get to experience the surroundings here, right? And really, I mean, you and I talking here, I really feel that the folks that own this place, it's their generosity that opens it up to people like us that don't have a ranching background, right? So, yeah, it's neat to get to experience that. I think it definitely changes kids' lives, you know?
I mean, you can't put that on the website, you know? I mean, you just can't. You see your little girl crying, you know, because she loves her horse so much, you know?
There's just so much here.
My father taught me when I was about 10 years old.
Like Francisco Santiago, here from southern Mexico, displaying his Zapotec Indian weaving.
This kind of weaving started in my community since maybe the middle of 1500s.
1500s?
Yeah,
Wow.
when the Spaniards brought the loom.
Okay.
The sheep also for the wool.
But perhaps my favorite part of it all is team penning.
The quick version. 4 riders, 3 cows in that pen.
There are people who come here who can actually do that. These guys pulled it off in 19 seconds. It takes most of us a bit longer.
Well, we have 3.
Sometimes a lot longer. But that's okay, you get to chase the cow for And look who's team penning. There's Jang and Ching. Pushing those doggies like old pros.
You got 2 off the side. That'll make 3.
Later, Russell and the rest of the crew would show us what the pros do for fun during the White Stallion's weekly rodeo demonstration. With team roping, barrel racing, breakaway roping, and other events. A chance to learn about this great sport and see close up what real experts can do from the back of a horse.
All right, guys, here we go. Yogi, Bill, get up.
Fact is, the True family, Russell, brother Michael, their wives and kids, love this place as much as anybody.
We always felt lucky as kids, and I don't think either of us ever thought we would leave or do something else. I mean, where else do you get to live in a beautiful place like we do, next to a national park, longest continual boundary, private boundary of the national park in the U.S. And dude ranches are that. They're in these special places in the West, and then you get to meet these interesting people from all over the world, and you get to ride horses. And you know, for me, the diversity of my day is one of the things I enjoy the most. And there isn't much I don't like But yes, there are a lot of easier ways to make a living. I don't know if there are very many better ways.
The White Stallion began as a cattle ranch 100 years ago, became a dude ranch 25 years later, and the True family took over in 1965. As they celebrate their 50th anniversary, many things have changed over the years. Amenities, dining tastes, wireless internet, just to name a few. But the heart of this place has never changed.
We always say we're not inventing the wheel, we're polishing it. We have never abandoned what we feel are the core roots of dude ranching, but we have made it very, very comfortable.
And at the core remain the horses.
And I'll tell you, it doesn't matter whether it's here looking at saguaro cactus and beautiful mountains in the Sonoran Desert, or going through the pine trees of Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, etc., or the plains, or wherever. I mean, there's beautiful dude ranches all across the West, and there is no better way to see country than on a horse, because you really get in it. I mean, it's right there. You can reach out and touch it, but you're not watching every step that your feet hit the ground, and so you get a little bit of height, and you're still in it. There is no better way than on horseback.
As Jang and his family discovered, there's just one problem with a visit to the White Stallion. Time goes by too quick.
Yeah, we don't want to go back home.
But school starts on Monday.
Sadly.
No problem. They'll just have to come back. That's it for now. I'm Mark Bedore. We're back next time with more cool stuff from today's Wild West. We'll see you down the trail. For more information on the people and places featured in today's Wild West, or to order show DVDs and books, visit todayswildwest.com.